What's going on, Nature's fans? Chris again with Nature's Recreations. We are out in Chesterfield, Missouri, getting ready to do a pond to pondless conversion renovation. And this thing is going to be amazing. Check it out. What we've got going here is an old dilapidated pond system that has just been unfunctional, leaking for who knows how long. I think it has probably been a decade or more, unfortunately. The builder that does this still unfortunately is in business. Not gonna mention any names, but he didn't do it quite the right way, and it was kind of destined for failure. Pump in the bottom of the pond, no filtration, no skimmer, just a pipe witch at the top. And it was just a really bad design, but it worked for the client. They enjoyed it for many, many years, and they missed the sound of that water. So what we're gonna do now is take this thing completely out and turn it into a beautiful double pondless waterfall. We've got some extensive drainage work to do here as well, but this thing is going to be the showpiece of this landscape. So what we've got here, this is the old system. It was built up, which actually probably wasn't a bad idea, but it looks contrived. The water from this property runs right through here, and we've got this massive hillside that everything comes down. So it is just a huge problem. You can see some erosion that's cutting down through there. So we're gonna be dealing with that at the same time because we need to protect our system here. But what this was just a pond with a waterfall. It went up quite a ways, actually up the hillside, and started way up there. You can hardly see it now because of all the tree cover, but I talked to the client and I said, you know, really, you're not gonna be able to see anything all the way up there. Why invest the money if you're never gonna be able to get up there? Because it's a pretty steep hill. So I've talked them into just doing a 20-foot stream and falls. Starts up here. The basin is gonna get extended down so we can decrease the severity of this because they didn't want something that was overpowering. Don't want this big massive drop. Basin will have a couple big ledge pieces that we can step out on, get the grandkids right up against those falls, but we're also going to do this little subsequent tributary that runs right down through these two groupings of trees. We're actually taking a couple of these out for access, but this is going to also feed down into this same basin. So the idea is that we've got our main stream and falls that comes down. We're going to take all these stones up here, reorganize them, add a bunch of additional nice weathered boulders and terrace that. But the illusion is that it starts actually up there and we're just gonna hide the origination point. So in their minds, it's gonna look like it's still coming from that area. But what I wanted was this little tributary stream to be really subtle, real narrow little cascade feeding down into it to make it look like it fed into that main stream. So that is the concept here. 20 and a 15, one central basin. We're gonna be doing a pretty extensive drain box inlet here, a couple 6-inch pipes that are gonna run us all the way down and around to a point where it drops off here. And then we're gonna let those spill out onto basically a ledge bedrock recreated path. And the reason for that is pretty obvious. You can see pretty substantial erosion that runs all the way down around the corner, pretty much all the way down to that flagstone, or a flagpole, sorry. This, we have just enough drop. We're gonna pull this down, make this look like a nice kind of a wide delta area where those pipes are gonna spit out. We're gonna hide those pipes and camouflage those so they can see it from this hearth room here, which is a great view. He wanted to really enjoy this, but he wanted to stop this problem here because they lost tons of ground after a couple of these big storms that we had over the spring. So that's what we're gonna have to start on first. You can see some of this erosion here really cutting through this area, expose all those roots. So we're also gonna add some drain boxes through here. Unfortunately, they didn't want us to redo these steps. They said that they're not really interested in going up there too much more, but we are gonna re-level those out. But I really wanted to try to sell them some nice big ledge rock steps that we always do. But we've got plenty of work here to do without that. So first things first, guys, we're taking this thing out. Let's get this thing cleaned up, get it out of the way. We're still waiting on some utilities to mark, so we can't get in here with the equipment just yet. So we're doing some hand work today, and then I gotta go tag some stones. So that's my goal for the rest of the day. But I wanted to show you guys what this thing is and what we've got to deal with before. You can see not too bad of a build, you know, kind of linear, not real creative, but 25, 30 years ago, it wasn't too bad. Up there, they've got a hole where the pipe literally came out. Really doesn't float my boat. I don't like the pipe witches. Rather see waterfall weir or biofall, something up there to make it look more natural. But now this is all gonna get reoriented, and we're gonna change all these terraces and make this work out for our purpose, so we don't have water coming right through here. So a lot of the dig out soil is gonna get repositioned up here. We're still gonna have to deal with some of these. We're gonna shoot some outcroppings out there to attend to all of that erosion. You can see this area as well. We're gonna plunk a big boulder in there and kind of continue this mindset that this was a natural shelf that always existed. Our entrance is coming in right up there, so it's tight. We gotta come in right literally between that electric box and that big red bud, because the rest of this hillside is so steep. We just can't get down it without sliding. So it's gonna be a precarious project. Logistic wise, all these trees are gonna pose some challenges, but I tell you, when we get done, it's gonna look like this thing has always been here. So I think the struggle is worth the effort, because this thing's gonna be really, really cool. We're also doing, like I said, a couple more outcroppings on this side to help control some of this erosion. This nice stainless statuary is losing its footing, so we're gonna bump out some big stones there and try to stop that problem. And then along the road up there where the truck is, we're also gonna put a couple outcroppings and then just filter some sod and soil in between there, because we're getting quite a bit of erosion. So that's the deal, guys. It's a big project. We got a lot to get done. Dismantling it is first. So let's get that thing going. And then I'm out of town for the rest of the job, not the whole job, but for the day. I gotta go tag that stone. So let's go check that out. I'm gonna go pick some really awesome boulders. All right, guys, I made it out to Stone Mecca to start tagging stone for this project, and there is tons of good stuff available. It is a pleasure coming out here every time, because this is where I do my design work. I know what I need to create the look that we're going for, and all I get to do is select those very unique stones that create the art that we put into each project. Check out some of these awesome stones. These things are spectacular. Look at the ton of moss that's on each one of these. This is such a shady location where we're building. We are going to be able to get this stuff to totally take off and really thrive on these shady sloped hillsides. What a beauty some of these are. Unfortunately, some of these guys are already tagged, but I'm going to be looking for some other stuff. But I tell you, this stuff is going to make our jobs so much easier and make the project look so much better in the end. Lots and lots of potential here. I'm gonna be here for a while, guys, checking out all these cool, different, massive boulders that we've got to pick from. Okay, guys, we just had a little change order in the job here. Customer's been wanting to do a little potting shed here for many years, and all this stone that we pulled out of his old pond and we're saving for later was the inspiration for him to give us the go-ahead. What he's having us do is just make a nice dry stack look retaining wall that will retain a concrete pad up above it that is going to support this shed. So he's going to have these steps that go along this side now. We're going to take all this ground clutter out. That will actually be where he turns to come in. He's going to have a side entry door on there, some big beautiful windows for this side here and looking out into the garden. Trying to save that apple if possible, but it looks like we're probably going to be in those roots, so it might have to go, unfortunately, but it's really going to be too close to everything, so it wouldn't be that big of a loss. Actually, it's never bore fruit, so it's kind of just a waste, unfortunately. However, we've got a big job here because we've got to get all these guys put into a wall over here. First things first, let's excavate this bay, get this thing ready. A lot of material coming out. Let's get rolling. guys, we've got this pad all ready to go. Guys are slicking up the edges here, putting in some grout on the face of this mortar wall. The pad is all ready to go for the little garden shack later. We ended up bringing in one big stone here because this just wasn't working with all the stuff that he had on site. So we brought in this one big ledge rock. We're gonna fill this in here. This will be kind of the transition zone that he spins to go up to this little seating area or down to the rest of this garden space here. We've got our dry creek starting in here. The idea with this was really to take away this erosion. If you remember, we had a big erosion line that was coming right through here. You can actually see the remnants of some of it here. It was just tearing up this whole side of the bed. And what we're trying to do here is mimic just kind of like almost like a sheet of shelf rock just got exposed. So the idea is the grass can actually grow right up over the edge. We're just wanting to focus all that water right on top of these ledge pieces. We're sporadically putting in a couple little accent outcropping stones to help direct that water and decorate this up a little bit. We've got these kind of cantered in a little bit. And then this last final one is nice and wide. It was the biggest one we had. And the idea is we want that water to flow evenly across it so that it's level side to side here, and then that way that water can come right off into the grass and not carry all this sediment and rock that we've got going on here. Nice and clean, flowing right through there. Once this grass gets growing back in, the idea is that it's just going to look like this water eroded this and exposed this nice shelf rock of natural ledge stone. We're continuing that on all the way up through underneath the excavator there onto the other side, where we'll have two 6-inch pipes spit out the water from our custom drain system here. So just a little bit of detail work here as we round this corner. We are so tight we've had to tie all of these trees up and get them out of our way because we can barely fit in here and work with the excavator. But things are coming along really nicely. We're finally getting moving on this section of the project. Cannot wait to get back over that way to the waterfall. All right, guys, so the guys were hard at work getting this basin in. We've had tons of rain issues that we've been dealing with. We've got our pipes actually in place for this custom drain inlet that we're gonna put in here. But man, I tell you, these guys were humping it. It was over 100 degrees with the heat index plus here, and man, they made great progress. So happy to see this, because now we get to start working on the fun stuff. The basin is done and we are ready to start throwing stones in for the waterfall. First things first, we're gonna take out this cluster of boulders. We've got a big, beautiful rock that was gonna go right in there. And we're actually thinking about doing some cool stuff with this that you're gonna have to wait to see how it turns out. So here we've got this first cut that we're gonna put kind of this alcove of framing stones for this waterfall that is coming back into this basin. The problem we've got is we've got such a big wide hillside, and we got actually a second little tributary coming down this way. We're gonna try to use just this basin liner that we always oversize, and luckily we did, to try to capture this last section of falls So the idea is one big framer there. We're gonna have a bunch of little rills coming in different areas. This other little stream rivulet will drop down in there. And then this, we've got this one really cool stone, and we think this is gonna be an extra because we got enough water volume in the pump that we can actually just shoot a little tributary stream coming out of it. But there's a stone that's got these two little cuts going right through it that just were natural fissures, and we just want to have this little bit of subtle water coming in here, kind of spread that out. And then we've got one big long hot dog outcropping that kind of matches the texture and the color tone of that stone that will replace all these guys. So we're getting this drain box put in here. We've got all these pipes that we had to fix for irrigation and pass-throughs. Right now, we're just trying to get this set up so that we can actually get this liner in and actually start setting stones in this whole area. If you can see, I had to create a monster retaining wall just to hold the excavator up because we're on such a steep bank. So we have to kind of work in pieces here. We've got this all ready to go. We'll lay this down, fabric, heavy duty underlayment on top and below, and then stretch that liner out, and then we'll start setting up stone. Guys have been busy at work while I was away getting this last little bit of waterfalls built into this basin. This is going to be so cool. We're going to have water coming through all these little nooks and crannies, falling through here, falling over there. We're going to have this little subtle tributary coming through there. Remember, we've got two little streams coming out of those fissures there. That is going to be so cool how water is going to dance through all that stone. We've got all this area sealed up through here. Right now, we're going to set a big, massive mossy boulder right up to the right of where Miguel is and try to get some water coming out of that biofalls. We've got our our spillway up there, and we're going to see if we can get just a little rivulet coming out right above that green stone there. This is going to be fun. Let's get back to work. So we've got our waterfall stone set. That's going to be that one that is viewed from that sidewalk driveway entrance that's going to draw people in. That is just looking phenomenal. Biofalls actually has two framing stones that's going back behind those guys there. Miguel's setting that down in there just right now. And then we're going to have this weir set with a big ledge piece over it. That'll cantilever out over it, so you won't even see any of that. And then we'll do more outcroppings here, continue this whole line of outcroppings. Behind the biofalls, we're gonna have to do something to retain that soil. And then we're gonna start pushing water and grade out to the sides, because we've really got to control all of that runoff that's coming down here. So here's that biofalls with those framers. We're setting it just high enough that we're going to be able to see it over this stone. When we're looking down from below, then everything's going to race down through here. We've got a little bit of extra water we're going to dump into a 2-inch line, put that right into this section here, so that this will have a little bit more velocity than that, giving it just a little bit of a different look. Coming along nice. We're hoping by tomorrow we're going to have things kind of running, or at least ready to run, and get this customer some water moving.